Lisa will be muting you, but feel free to unmute when you have a question. We will have Q&A at the end. But we do have some super fun things to cover. But first of all, as I've been watching you all coming in, I love the fact that you're telling me where you're from. So do say hi. Where are you popping in from? And today we are going to talk about seasonal changes and circadian medicine. I'll use them interchangeably, although I know they do mean different things. But I do love to talk about how we need to change things each season. And it just so happens that circadian medicine is the latest and coolest breakthrough in health, especially around digestion and health and feeling good every single season. And that includes summertime as well. It's a big area. It's a Nobel Prize topic. So I have a lot of new things that we're going to cover and that we're going to talk about in a minute. And I'm excited to share it all with you today. But first, I'd love to know, what is it that you want to learn today? Why are you here? So let us know. I'd love to know what brought you into this webinar. What about summer wellness, beauty from within? Just sort of fired something up enough that you decided to click on the link at 7 o'clock at night when you could be doing so many other things. So I would love to know why you're here. We do have Lisa in the chat. She'll be there supporting you. So you do have her. A lot of you know Lisa. And Lisa will be sending out links for you and answering any questions that you have on chat. So I would love to know why you're here. To feel better, to treat my body better as a whole. It has been quite a tough year, hasn't it? You know, we got out of COVID and then we got into all kinds of political strife and wars, and all kinds of things are going on in the world. Not all of it good, and this creates stress. And under stress, what can happen? We can gain weight, we can get achy joints, we don't sleep so well, especially as the temperatures go up, and we can get skin irritations, especially in the summertime as well. So anybody else struggling with some of those things? I agree with what's mentioned above. Somebody said, I'm not fond of summer. Not everybody loves summer. I do. I'm Vata, so I need that sun and that heat, but not everybody does. But anybody else struggling with weight, irritability, anxiety over the last few months? What about you? I'd love to see. Has it been stressful? And I would love to hear what you'd love to learn about today. What are you looking for? But as we're doing that, weight, eating to fuel, that's great. Let me tell you what I've got going on. And here's the thing, I love, love, love audience participation. We are not face-to-face. I certainly understand that. Many of us are zoomed out. But chat's the way to do it. You're interactive on chat. I love that. Kim says, looking for weight, menopausal help, especially around the belly, I should say. Victoria says weight and eating to fuel. So I am seeing that on chat. Weight, a short fuse, somebody says, insomnia, cellulite. Yes, I've been asked about that quite a few times lately, and we can help with that. What else? Eczema playing up, and that can play up in summertime. Anybody else have trouble showing off their skin? I know the weather heats up and you want to show off your body and then you don't really want to. Anybody sort of having problems with flabby arms or blotchy skin, cellulite thighs? I get it, and we're going to cover it all for you. So let me tell you what I have in store. I am super excited about it. First off, we are, of course, going to talk about why you need to change your foods, your diet, and lifestyle each season. And we're going to focus on the season we're in, which probably for all of us is summer, unless I have any of my Southern Hemisphere clients here, in which case it's winter for them and you are in the wrong webinar, my friends. So we're going to talk about the foods to eat, the right routines, skincare, so important in the summer, all the do's, all the don'ts, plus I'll send you out all the resources that we'll talk about today so that you have them as well. Now, I'm going to show you a biohack. Ready? This has kept me and thousands of my clients around the world getting a ridiculously unfair advantage in terms of feeling energized, in terms of feeling full of vitality. And it's not what you think. It's not stimulants, it's not caffeine, it's not chocolate or those crazy energy drinks. Now, you may not believe me, but I'm getting healthier and happier and seemingly more youthful every single year for the last 15 years. And if you're not sure about that, let me show you. This photo is not edited. It is not color corrected. It is not photoshopped. It's just a photo of a time when I was sick. So very, very sick about 20 years ago. And you can see how I've aged well. In fact, I look more youthful now than I did 20 years ago. And that's got nothing to do with wrinkles. I have far more wrinkles now than I did then, but I certainly have more vitality than I did then. Now, I'm going to say something that might trigger you. If you're not waking up with excitement, energy, and a clear mind, then something is off. And I tell my sort of clients all the time, if you're not in your prime now, then you're doing something wrong. But before we get to that, for those of you who don't know me or don't know my story, I'm Kerry Harling, and I want to share a little bit more about myself and my journey to where I am today so that I'm not a total stranger to you. Now, I spent much of my life sick and chronically fatigued. And this always surprises people when I tell them that, especially, sort of based upon what I do now. And it began when I was about 40. I had just left a very abusive marriage. And I remember feeling like I was starting over again. As you can well imagine, it had been a very traumatic time. It took me a lot to get out of that marriage, but leaving it actually filled me with a lot of hope. I was with my young son, so I had become a single parent, and I was embarking upon a better life. There was not going to be any drama, there wasn't going to be any fear, and I went back to school. I hadn't got my first degree, so at 40 I decided now was the time to go do it. So I went back to school in a new state, and I thought all my stress was behind me. And then the pain began, excruciating pain. I had pain in my joints, pain in my muscles, and all over body pain. Then came the headaches, food sensitivities, and sleeplessness. I spent most of my nights just tossing and turning. So I did what we all do. I made an appointment to see a doctor, and they ran all the tests that they could think of, Lyme disease, fibromyalgia. They did blood tests to see what was going on, if there was any viral disease, and everything came back as normal. From there, things got worse. I was exhausted all the time. Each day, I had to decide where I was going to put my energy. If I played baseball with my son, then I couldn't do the laundry. If I cleaned the house, and I'd be out for the count for 2 days. And I felt desperate. Mostly, I wanted to do all the normal things that a mother does with her young son. And it broke my heart when my son would say to me, Mom, why can't you play with me? You're always laying on the couch. And I was just too tired. I was always telling him, I'm just tired. I just need to rest. And this actually went on for months. I didn't get any better. In fact, I was getting worse. I was trying to do well in school. I was studying neuroscience. There was a lot of chemistry in neuroscience, and it was not a topic I was comfortable with. So I needed to be able to focus. And I found that I couldn't think straight. I felt very foggy. I just wanted to curl up on the couch, and I wanted to sleep all day. So I started to try other things. In fact, I tried everything. I tried every diet known to mankind. First, I was a vegan because, meat is the devil, right? And then when I didn't feel any relief from that, well, then I was a carnivore because, hey, vegetables must be killing us. So this must work. And then when I didn't have any help with that, then I became a fruitarian. I ate only fruit because everything except fruit is probably dangerous to the immune system. And I tried everything. I tried a keto diet, high carb, low carb. I tried not eating anything at all, just water fasting, and I would not recommend that. I tried float tanks, Adderall to lift the depression, antidepressants, and I spent probably hundreds and hundreds of dollars on supplements. I also tried light machines, sound machines, sauna therapy. I did colonics for the first time, sun gazing, moon gazing, because somebody told me that would help. I did a lot of positive affirmations. I tried chanting, healing mantras, and I had affirmations all around the house. And of course, let's not forget, I bought every self-help book that there was that I thought could help me. Nothing did. So I went back to the doctors and started seeing specialists, GI specialists, endocrinologists, infectious disease doctors, and then ultimately psychologists. And I still remember one psychologist saying to me that ultimately I was depressed. And maybe my symptoms were all coming from this diagnosis of depression. And I just remember bursting into tears because I couldn't seem to explain that, yeah, of course I was depressed, but it didn't start out that way. I was depressed because I had become convinced there was just no hope for me, no answers. I was still on the merry-go-round of doctor after doctor, but after seeing numerous different specialists, I began to notice that not one of them tried to understand the underlying cause of my health problems. They treated every symptom I had. In fact, every new symptom had a drug to go with it. So I saw them as merely symptom chasers, all of them. But things did change. One early spring day, and I remember it well, it was the start of actually the spring semester, and this was the day of a true shift. That's the day I got a diagnosis, and I was diagnosed with mercury toxicity. Finally, I had an answer. Then came the questions. Where had I received the exposure? I was asked where I grew up. How much fish did I eat? Did I ever live next to an arms making factory? Had I ever lived next to a hat making factory? As I found out, mercury is used in the hat felting process. And I learned that's where the phrase "as mad as a hatter" comes from, because mercury crosses the brain barrier, the blood-brain barrier, and creates a lot of foggy thinking, and ultimately you can go mad with it. Now, we can pin down where I contracted mercury from, and I didn't care at this point because I had the root cause of my problems, and I felt hope for the first time in years. I began to think that I could finally be healthy again, once and for all. After all, if we sort of know the problem, then we can fix it, right? It took 5 years of treatment. I had chelation therapy to remove the mercury from all my tissues and the brain. I had to have all my mercury fillings removed. And after 5 years, I was finally free of the mercury. But at this point, I didn't feel any better. Yeah, I had fixed the underlying problem. There was no mercury in my system, but the very treatment that was required to take the mercury out of my system had left me totally depleted. I was still utterly exhausted and now toxic from all the treatments that I had received. And it was at this time that I was introduced to Ayurveda. Through yoga, when I had been so sick and I could hardly move, the one thing that had helped, I did get a diagnosis also of fibromyalgia. The one thing that did help was going to restorative yoga. That yoga teacher would talk about Ayurveda. I wasn't quite sure what it was, you know, maybe it was a religion. I know they used lots of oils and they spoke funny words, but other than that, I didn't really know, and I didn't really care. I just went there for yoga. But that same practitioner I was going to, the same yoga therapist, and she recommended that I see a Ayurveda practitioner. So I did, and I took the advice of that practitioner and started making some key changes in my diet and lifestyle. In fact, I started with an Ayurveda seasonal cleanse. And what I found was literally 1 month later, I found my vitality improving. And gradually, it didn't happen overnight, but gradually my energy increased as well. It was amazing. This was the first time that I had felt any relief at all. And I was so astounded by how powerfully effective this treatment was, and continued with it, that later on, and there's a whole story about how I got to Ayurveda, but later on, Ayurveda found me and I was able to study it full time. And on the basis that I could then help others to transform their health and well-being. In fact, I've had particular success in helping people adjust their diet and lifestyle to doing what is right each season. And you know, if you're anything like me, you probably would have laughed, because back in the day, I didn't believe in changing according to the season. If I wanted to eat strawberries in the middle of winter, well, I went ahead and bought them. After all, they're in the grocery store, so they must be okay. Also, I didn't necessarily know what was in season and what wasn't, because everything I wanted to eat was in the grocery store, no matter what the season it was. And I understand that train of thought. And later, after having a severe illness, I was forced to open my mind. And don't just take my word for it. There are lots and lots of people who are shifting to a seasonal routine, using my techniques to feel energized and more like who they want to be. If someone would have told me 15 years ago, they would have told me then, 15 years from now, I would have an international clientele. I would be an author, a TED speaker, a contributing editor to a major international magazine, and be a speaker amongst some of the best thought leaders in health and medicine. I wouldn't have believed them. And I couldn't have done that had I not gone through my own health challenges first. And I suppose that I want you to know that I get it in a very, very personal way, because they've been through my own journey of chronic illness and disease. And since becoming free of my own chronic illness, it's been my mission to help others do the same. And that's one of the reasons why we do these seasonal webinars, to get some important information to you so that you can apply some of these principles, and also to tell you about us and to tell you that we're here for you if you need us. People often want to know what else I do in the world besides Ayurveda and yoga, and there's not too much else, but this is some of my family. My son, the one who wanted to play baseball with me and I was always tired, he is now part of the business. He is the strategic arm of the Holistic Highway. This is my son, Justin, and he sort of focuses us in a way that we're scientifically have scientific integrity, that we follow through with what we say we're going to do, and that we're held accountable. This is my dog, Bailey. He's 145 pounds, so he's a big dog, eats a lot. And the reason there is a plane here is my husband is a private pilot, that's his hobby, and he flies for Pilots and Paws, where he'll go out and rescue dogs and bring them to other areas. He often sort of picks up dogs down south and brings them in from high kill animal shelters and brings them up to foster homes up here in the Northeast. And one of the nicest things I do is I belong to an organization called the International Medical Relief. And every couple of years, my sister and I, that's my sister who's waving, will go out overseas and we'll set up mobile medical clinics. We're not trained medical people as nurses or physicians. We're grunts. We go out there, we do whatever it is that people need us to do. Sometimes it's building things, sometimes it's triaging, sometimes I actually get to do some fun medical stuff. Sometimes I get to do Ayurveda massages, and that's really good too. This is Cambodia. We were there. It was a great time, except I got dengue fever there, and that that wasn't great, but a wonderful time in Cambodia. But let me ask you this, as we sort of transition into summertime, do you change anything but your clothes in the summer? What do you tend to change in the summertime? Anything? Oh, you've stopped interacting with me, haven't you, since I told my story? Diet for sure. Yep, I eat lighter. Good, great. So you're doing some great things there. But it is easy to get into a routine, isn't it? Where we tend to eat, work, and exercise in the same way day after day, because we're creatures of habit. And once we get into a routine, it's hard to get out of it. But did you know that microbes in the air change from one season to the next? Did you know that microbes in your gut also change from one season to the next? And what that means, the implication there is we should eat different foods in the season. And did you also know that receptors in your brain for mood hormones also change seasonally? So it's really true. We are seasonal circadian beings. That means we must live in sync and in harmony with nature's rhythms to be able to survive, to be able to thrive and enjoy life on this planet. Now, Ayurveda has been making this case for thousands of years, and today this knowledge is being repackaged in what is now called circadian medicine. It is based on Nobel Prize-winning science, and the benefits of syncing up with nature's circadian rhythms are well supported by this new science of circadian medicine. So let's talk about summertime and how we embrace summer so that you can get rid of any of those symptoms that you've been telling me about. Well, summertime is time when the sun is highest in the sky, and it's at its brightest, we know that. So it's no surprise that this coincides with Pitta time of year. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, with what that means, there are different times of year. Pitta has certain qualities this time of year. And that's characterized by things like inherent heat. It is the one time of year that we can get hot. Has other qualities like light, and that light's penetrating. In fact, it's so penetrating we put sunglasses on. There's a luminosity to that light too. There's a feeling that that heat is spreading. The warmth we feel is often a spreading heat, but it's also a time of year we can become more oily. Inflammation goes up, which is why psoriasis and eczema can often flare this time of year. But we feel more mobile. But what does that mean for all of us? So it's Pitta time of year, which means all of us are affected by the qualities this time of year. So if there's too much Pitta, it's Pitta in excess, that can lead to challenges. So Pitta is out of control. Too much Pitta means we're out of control, and we can literally be too hot to handle. So it's that bullheaded boss, it's that jealous boyfriend, or an inner burning desire to do everything and we got to do it now. So if you find yourself in those things, that's just that Pitta in you that's increasing. So it can manifest as being too intense, too controlling, too critical, even jealous. So relationships may suffer, and it's a time of year you can burn out too. But in balance, Pittas become inspiring leaders. There's great wisdom. They can light up a room with their charismatic clarity. And Pitta individuals, people with a lot of Pitta in them, can move mountains with their strong convictions and their beliefs. So for this time of year, we just need to cool down and chill out in every aspect of life. So right now, I want you to take a deep breath and just let it go. For those of you who are multitasking, come back, because this is important. Take a deep breath, let it go, and trust that you do not need to control everything, and not everything needs to be controlled. And try and have fun at the end of a long work week. That goes for everybody, but it especially goes for people who have a lot of Pitta in them. So summertime is actually the perfect time to reflect upon what's really important in life. Is it accomplishments, or is it relationships? Is it ambition, or is it deep connection to your community? Is it achievement, or is it love? Not just a love of a spouse, but love of your surroundings. You get to decide, but somebody with a lot of Pitta in them will often choose accomplishments, achievements, and ambition over the benefits of relationships, connections, or love. So just think about that. And if you do find yourself in one of those self-righteous, hot-headed Pitta moments where the whole world is wrong and you're the only one that's right, and we all have those moments, then just get on your bike and go for a bike ride. And what that really means is get it out physically. Don't take it out on those that are nearest and dearest. When we have a lot of Pitta in our system, we can be very sharp-tongued, and we can certainly give it. So take it out physically, get rid of it that way. So let's reflect upon summer, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can put this in chat. What does summer season represent to you? What comes up for you? Summer. I love summer. I don't love humidity, but I love summer. I love the longer days. I love when the sun shines. Garden, light, spending time outside, heat. Yes, bare feet. I love that. We'll talk about that in a minute. being outside, boating. Yes, it's always cooling, isn't it, to be by the water. Vacation time, you are absolutely right. Although I take mine in the winter. Yeah, you got it. So thanks, siesta, love it. So what qualities are invoked in you during summer? So come back to some of those qualities. Can you feel hot? Can you get irritated? Can you get anxious? Can you feel inflamed? Do you find that inflammation increases? What qualities are increased with you? I can get critical, so my husband tells me, I think I'm just being honest, but he says I'm being critical. But I can be overcritical and over intense, where I have to do it all this time of year. So think about that one, and let's move on to the next one. What do you love about summertime? Yeah, somebody said no patience. That is so common this time of year, to lose patience, to get heated up and irritated. So pitta disorder, it's pitta out of balance. Pittas tend to get frustrated first, and when that frustration can't be met, they'll get irritable, and if that's not calmed, then they'll eventually get angry. More achiness in the summertime, absolutely. That heat can actually create more inflammation, although it can help with the dryness of some arthritis. So what do we like? Cool breezes in the summer, longer days of sunshine. Yes, I love the warmth and just that more relaxed pace. Yes. So what 3 things can you do for yourself this summer to stay balanced physically, mentally, and emotionally? Don't all chat at once, you know. Healthy eating, yep. Get physical, get out of the heat, hydrate, eat better, rest, get outside, exercise, don't overschedule. Yeah, don't we do that? Walks, meditate, relax. I love it, Deborah. Stay in the shade, absolutely. Deep breathing, nice. You've got some great answers there. So how can you make this happen? What will it take to make this happen? Make a promise to myself, stick with it. Yep, we have to make that commitment first off. Yep, a good session with Lisa. Lisa's good for holding you accountable in a very nice way, isn't she? Motivation, group support. Yeah, let's not underestimate how important community is and people around us. Absolutely. Yes, she is. So let me ask you this question as we're moving through these journal questions. What aspects of yourself are no longer serving you that you can get rid of, that you're ready to let go of? This is normally something we do in the spring, but with spring coming into summer, what's holding you back? Are there perhaps things that are holding you back? Maybe there's clothes in your wardrobe that you are never going to get rid of them. Are there perhaps thought patterns holding you back? Are there relationships that no longer serve you? Are there friendships that really you should say goodbye to? Or are there patterns of behavior that perhaps once served you well, but no longer need to? Because when we hold on to these things, they keep us in a version of ourselves of who we used to be, not who we want to be in summertime, which is much more lighthearted and vibrant. So what can you let go of? Past hurts. I love it, Ebony. Yep. Not easy to do, but yes, they hold us back for sure. Yep. And the patterns that we've developed to protect ourselves from them. Let go of what I can't control. That's so easy to say, isn't it? I say that all the time. Yeah. Forgiveness, I love that. Yes, who I once was. We are evolving, we change season to season, and that's wonderful. And then what aspect of yourself would you like to expand? What part of you would you love to see more of? I often hear from clients, I used to have fun. I used to play. I remember when I would have marshmallow fights, and I remember when I would just laugh, and there was a sense that life was just wears us down, and we forget that we used to be pretty playful. Joy, yes, absolutely. I love this quote that I want to share with you. We don't cease to play because we grow old. We grow old because we cease to play. And when we look at summer, we have to go back to spring a little bit because each season builds upon itself. And in spring, we let go of those things that no longer serve us. And that allows us to lighten up and clear out the old so that we can begin summertime with a sense of clarity, a sense of clearness, and a sense of joy. So the sun's out and we're ready to play. This is playtime. And playtime, and George Bernard Shaw, who wrote this, keeps us young. When we watch kids at play, it's a reminder of our own inner joy and light-hearted spirit, and we're uplifted. When you hear kids laughing, it's such an uplifting sound because our own inner child responds to that. So it's playtime, and Pitta dosha, the Pitta in you, is activated in the summer, and it's going to flourish with a cooling, regular, and playful practice. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to talk overall about some of the things that are really nice. More relaxed lunches, more time spent outdoors, which a lot of you had put summer means that for you. Spontaneous playtime. And if you can't do spontaneous playtime, the Pittas in the group can schedule their playtime. And if you're a Pitta, you'll know that that makes absolute sense for you. So schedule that time to play. Slower activities that help us cool down and avoid stress. This is all going to support a balanced summertime routine. And it's funny, I think it's funny, at how easy it is to be spontaneous when we have a routine, because we're taking care of business. We're not forgetting everything else. And then, because we're taking care of all those other things, we can then take care of ourselves. So focus on relaxation and play. Take time out to enjoy the warmth, the light, and the lively but lazy days of summertime. So shift your practices to a more relaxed pace. Take a vacation. One of you put, it's vacation time, summertime. Have a moonlight swim. Eat a mango till it dribbles all down your face. Laugh, play, sleep outdoors, go camping, snorkel, ride a bicycle. These are all things that bring us back to playing again. So let's look very sort of systematically at daily routines and what an ideal daily routine is for you in summertime. And first off, we have to look at what time we get up. So gently, let's get in the habit of waking a little bit earlier in summertime. 6 o'clock is the perfect time. It's in Vata time, which means if we wake up during this time, we'll have the energy of movement. If we leave it till like 8 o'clock in the morning, we're waking up in Kapha time. We're going to feel a little heavy, a little sluggish, just a little behind the 8 ball for the rest of the day. Now, if you're waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, don't suddenly wake up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. You'll feel exhausted. So gently schedule back or sort of go back by 15 minutes. So if you're waking up at 8, then wake up at 7:45 for a few days, then at 7:30, then at 7:15, and gradually work your way back to 6 o'clock in the morning. You are going to feel so much better getting up at 6. And then let's talk about those cleansing rituals. What do we do in the morning? So scraping your tongue is one of the most important things to do. If you're working with me, you already know that's what you're doing. If not, get yourself a copper tongue scraper and gently, very gently, scrape over your tongue each morning to remove the digestive toxins that are built up overnight. It is normal to have a slight white coating on the tongue in the morning. It is not normal to have a white coating on your tongue for the whole day. When I was sick, I constantly had this white coating in my mouth. And it went after my cleanse. Brush your teeth, which you already know because you've been doing that since you were wee high. And then start your oil pulling practice. You can swish with a tablespoonful of coconut oil around the mouth. You can use our oral swish if you want, which has got some really, really nice botanicals in it and herbs and essential oils, which are all very cooling. So you can use just coconut oil though. It's very cooling for the summer and really nice for Pitta dosha. The reason we do oil pulling is actually it's a detoxification method. Your dentist is going to love you. It removes the toxins that are in the mouth. It does feel a little funny swishing with oil. We're not used to oil being in our mouth. It swishes through all the teeth, so it gets rid of debris. And it has an astringent effect, which means it tightens the gums around the teeth. So it's going to decrease any kind of gingivitis. So really nice practice to get into. And then your first drink of the day for this time of year is drink warm water with lime and a sprig of fresh mint if you're growing it. I have lime juice right now. I pretty much live on it in the summertime. Lime is cooling. If you're putting lemon juice in your water because you've heard that's wonderfully refreshing and detoxifying, it is, but not in this season. You're going to use that in the winter. Lemons are heating, limes are cooling. If you're growing mint, which I am in my garden, then a sprig of fresh mint is also really nice if you like mint. This is going to cool the body and the mind. It's going to activate your digestion for the day. We need that. You can just choose mint or just choose lime, but together they are really nice. And then your next practice is going to be Nasya oil. And this is a very strange practice to a lot of people. Imagine putting oil up your nose. We just don't do those kinds of things. Nasya just means nose. And what we do in Ayurveda is we add oil to the mucous membranes in the nostrils. And the reason we do this is in the summertime, as the heat goes up, air conditioning goes on. Air conditioning is drying. When we dry out those mucous membranes, it actually disrupts the immune system. We have little hairs called cilia in our mucous membranes or on our mucous membranes that trap viruses and bacteria. When that dries out, because we're traveling a lot, we're in drier air, or it's overheated and dry, or we've got air conditioning on, or in the winter, we've got heat on, it's going to dry that out. And we need that to be able to trap all those bacteria and viruses. COVID is still out there, and I don't want you getting a summer cold either. So Nasya oil is really nice. We do a nice Nasya oil. You can just use coconut oil or ghee and just put a little bit on your finger if you don't want to actually snort oil, and just rub it on the inside of your nostrils. It's going to lubricate all those mucous membranes. It actually makes your eyes shiny as well. So it's a really nice practice as well, although it might be something that feels a little different to you. So that's some of your morning routine. And then we also want to add some meditation. And I think meditation's got a bad rap because people tend to think, you know, I can't sit still for an hour and I have to sit chanting cross-legged. And that is so far from what meditation truly is. I mean, sure, if you want to sit cross-legged chanting Om, you certainly can, but that is not necessarily meditation. Meditation is just turning inwards as opposed to outwards. I don't sit very well. I have too much vata in me to sit for any long period of time. So my morning meditation is a walk. I take my dog for a walk. Now I don't have my phone on. I don't have my earpods in. I'm not listening to podcasts or music or news. I'm not checking my phone. I am just enjoying being out in nature, watching the birds playing, watching the rabbits who are running out in front of us, and just thoroughly enjoying being. That is rejuvenative because I'm moving inwards as opposed to outwards. Some people like to do a guided meditation. That is really lovely. Some people like to sit and just focus on maybe a flame. That also is mesmerizing and has us go inwards. Anything that has you go inwards is really meditation. 5 minutes a day is so rejuvenative and can make such a huge difference, especially if you have a lot of sort of intensity in you this time of year. One of the things I do love, did you know that laughing is one of the best ways to relieve stress in the mind and body? It also, there's scientific studies that say it decreases the risk of heart problems too. It boosts your immunity. So it is really good medicine. And this is something everything can do. Laughter helps cool that fiery nature of pitta, helps them not take life too seriously. So it's really important for health and happiness. So if you've never tried it or heard about it, there is something called laughter meditation. I'm not going to do it here. You can find it online. I've done it once. And you just start off by laughing and you feel really silly laughing because nothing's funny. But soon your body takes over and it becomes really, really interesting. But if that's not your thing, watch a funny movie, hang out with funny people, play fun games, go bowling, sing karaoke, spend time with children. They'll have you laughing. If you've got children or grandchildren, you certainly know that that's a big part of what they bring with them. Or fake it till you make it. Did you know that your body cannot discern between true laughter and fake laughter? So it has the same psychological and physiological impacts. So go on, try it. Just try laughing and until it takes over and thoroughly enjoy it. One of the other things that we love to do this time of year that's really nice, and I'll show you how to do this, is breathing. And it's really important to do a cooling breath this time of year. This is called Shitali breathing. And the way to do this is you're going to roll your tongue. Now, not everybody can do that genetically. So try it with me. Can you roll your tongue? Those of you who can't, you'll need to put your two teeth together. It's hard for me because I've got an overbite, but like that. So let's do Shitali breathing again. Here we go. Breathe in and then just breathe out normally. Let's try that again. Breathe in and just breathe out. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Can you feel how cooling that breath is? So a great breath to do anytime. Somebody's just put, that is laughter meditation, me trying to do this. I love it. People are funny. So this is really nice to do anytime that you feel hot, you're having a hot flash, it's got hot and sweaty outside, you're hot in bed and you're throwing all the covers off, or somebody's got you a little heated, you're hot under the collar. This is a great breath to do because it's going to cool the mind and cool the body as well. And then let's not forget movement. Movement is so important even this time of year, but we actually slow down in the summertime. Yay for Ayurveda. So there's no pain, no gain, intense exercise. We do that in the spring. We do not do this in the summertime. In the brightness and the heat of summer, use whatever movement you do. I've just got a yoga mat up here because I do that a lot, but you certainly don't have to. But whatever you do, use your movement, your practice to bring balance by cooling down and relaxing the body and mind. So I'm going to talk about yoga, but you want to do yoga or any movement, I guess, more calmly, more slowly, and in a non-competitive way through the postures if you're doing yoga or if you're at the gym. The idea isn't, I got to get to this goal no matter what. The idea is to enjoy the movement, feel the movement in your body, feel that body getting stronger and enjoy it. Get rid of any ideas of getting something out of your practice or your workout. You know, just focus on the joy of being present in the moment without results driven. You know, I used to be a gym rat and I'd go in there and it's like, I've got to do this, or I've got to run this far. I've got to do this much on the treadmill. If you want to run, by all means run. But the idea in summertime is we reduce that intensity. An Ayurveda rule of thumb really is to exercise to half your capacity. And what that means is we exercise until we break a sweat and then we back off. All right, that's not bad. So also the ideal time for exercise, which kind of makes sense, is early in the morning when it's cool, or in the cool evenings. That's the second best time. Please don't go out in the midday sun. Only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. So it's not indicated. It's going to increase irritation. It's going to increase inflammation. It's going to increase acidity in the gut, all things that you want to avoid in the summertime. So cooler, slower movements, no intense training. This is not time to train for a marathon. Summer workouts are cooler and they're slower. If you can do them in water, that's even better. And one of the nicest things to do is a walk. We underestimate just how healthy walking is. And walking in moonlight is a wonderful thing to do this time of year. And that's because the light from the moon is a silver light, which is cooling, as opposed to the light from the sun, which is a warming light, or it's a yellow light, which is heating. So moonlit walks. Moon dancing is fun because your shadow dances with you. That's fun to do, especially with kids. So what about self-care? Really, really important to perform self-massage. We call this Abhyanga. Don't get confused with the Sanskrit names. It just means self-massage. You want to do this with the right dosha oil. You can always use coconut oil, though. That's always a good oil in the summertime. It is not a good oil in the wintertime. So again, things change season to season. But the right dosha oil is going to cool, it's going to nourish, it's going to protect your skin, which you really want this time of year. And the benefits of a regular self-care massage, or regular self-massage, I should say, is it's going to relax the nervous system. That's going to reduce any tension, any anxiety, any irritability. It removes impurities from the blood, and it feeds the tissues of the body. Plus, it makes your skin glow. You can tell when somebody's oiling their skin regularly. It looks lovely. And one of the biggest things that Lisa and I hear after a couple of months with us is my skin is looking great. People are commenting on how good my skin is. Now, performing this at least 3 times a week is going to be great. I'd love it if you could do it every day. It feels onerous for a lot of people to do this every day. It's easy to do just before your shower. Do it. It's going to feel great. And then if you like essential oils, these are really nice for this time of year. So we're sort of going through the day. We've sort of cleaned our teeth, done our oil pulling on Masure oil. We've done some movement. We're taking a shower now. You want to shower with a gentle herbal soap. We don't want anything that's going to strip the oils from the skin. So a goat milk soak is really nice. Sandalwood soap is wonderful, as sandalwood's very cooling and indicated for pitta time of year. So a gentle herbal soap, and create a mister with aromatic, sweet and cooling essential oils. And you can choose from essential oils like mint, sandalwood, rose, jasmine, geranium. All the summer flowers actually have cooling properties. Lavender is a great one for this time of year, as well as fennel. We don't often think of putting that as a mister, but it's very cooling. Coriander or cilantro also, these are all essential oils. Those of you who are in programs with us, you can access how to use essential oils and makeup misters and all kinds of wonderful things in the Ayurveda library in the summer self-care section. And then let's move on to skincare. So our skin is definitely in need of protection from the drying rays of the sun. We know that, as well as nourishment. It can dry out this time of year. We want to keep it moist, supple, and toned, because if it dries out in the summer, we're moving into a drying season in the fall. It's going to get more dry in the fall, which means it's probably going to crack or get flaky in the winter. So each season builds upon itself. So really important what you do this time of year. Now, not just skin, but our toes and feet are out and about. So show those off as well. I mean, after being socked up in the cool, damp season of spring, it's time to bring those out. So take off those socks, kick off your shoes, let the tall green grass tickle your toes, or the sand. Enjoy. I love walking through sand barefoot. And somebody had said earlier on that what they love in the summertime is being able to take your shoes off. So really, really nice. Thoroughly enjoy it. Keep your skin glowing or keeping your skin glowing rather, is one of the prime factors that we work on in the summertime. Normally in the summer, we've come out of a spring cleanse or a spring detoxification. That's what we do in the spring. It's one of the practices. That means your skin's going to be glowing, and you want to keep that throughout the whole summertime. And you can use some of the very real things that are around you. Watermelon makes a fantastic face mask that nourishes and hydrates and repairs your skin from sun damage. And also it guards against pitta blemishes. Pitta can break out this time of year. Did you know that watermelon has a natural sunscreen in it? Yeah, so use it. Don't only use watermelon, but it's really nice to use. Now, our personalized skincare that you can see in the picture is made up of botanicals that are right for you in the summertime. There's other things that you can use as well. Rose water is really nice, especially as a compress for your eyes that have been overexposed to the light. We have a corrective cleanser, or protective cleanser, I should say, for glowing skin that you can use in the morning to cleanse your face. It's important to protect your skin from the sun. We all know that, and the elements of fire. So you want a lighter, cooling moisturizer in the summertime. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it, that what we use in the summer is very different to what we need in the winter. In the wintertime, my skin gets very, very dry. So I want a heavy moisturizer. I want more oils. Come summertime, I don't need as much oil. But it's still really important that I don't dry out. So you want a lighter moisturizer. Use your personalized moisturizer to replenish and brighten your skin for the day. And then a weekly cooling face mask is really nice for the summertime. That'll cool, it'll protect from oily blemishes that we can suffer from this time of year and the harsh rays of the sun. Each season brings an opportunity to make friends with sort of different botanicals or plant essences. We have a personalized skincare system that we're very excited about because we only just launched it a month ago. And it's not a big jump to go from personalized health to personalized skincare. And we developed this because clients would turn around to me and say, what can you recommend for my skin? So we would look out there and what was there? And yes, there was some good products out there. There's some nice, clean, green skincare, but it was for the masses. It was one size fits all. Me with dry skin in the Northeast shouldn't have the same moisturizer as my sister who lives in South Carolina, who also has dry skin. It kind of made sense that we would need different things, even though we both have dry skin. But if we went to Ulta, we would find the same ingredients, we'd find the same products. So we did a lot of research and decided to go into this sort of skincare line and personalize it where it was right for you. And we developed this amazing assessment tool that tests looks at 87 different factors. And in that, we look obviously at your dosha, the season, the climate you're in, your age, your gender, because that's important for hormones, what stage of life you're in. But how about how much blue light you use? How about what you eat, what you drink? How hard is the water you're in? How much light exposure do you get from the sun? How much humidity are you in? So much goes into what should be good skincare. And we did it, and now we've launched it, and I'm sharing it with you. So this is wonderful. So use the right skincare for you. To me, it makes sense to use personalized skincare because I believe in personalized medicine, but that's, really going to stop you feeling burnt out, irritated, overheated, and it's going to be really good for your skin. Wherever I go, people often tell me a couple of things. First off, I smell nice, and that's because I use my dosha oil, and it's got all those botanicals and Ayurveda herbs in them, and how good my skin looks. I mean, I don't go a day without using my personalized skincare system. It's being formulated for me, and I'd love for you to try it. So that's why I'm telling you about it. Now, once you take the skincare assessment, and Lisa can put the link in chat for you so that you have it, and you get your formula that's personalized for you, we give you the gift of coming into our VIP club. And it's a free club. I didn't want to charge for it. And that's because it's important for me that you be aware of all the seasonal changes that happen each season. So yes, products are phenomenal. Good products are really phenomenal. But let's not kid ourselves. Really good skin comes from health from the inside out. So while we're working on the outside in with really good products, it's also just as important to have you working from the inside out. So that's why I developed the VIP club, and anybody who gets the skincare kit or system will automatically come into that. And that's because as the seasons change, everything changes. Your clothes change, your skin changes, your diet changes, lifestyle also needs to change. So we send you out wellness content that's delivered for every season, that's right for that season. And we also do seasonal wellness workshops, like you've come to this one. At the end of the workshop, there'll be a live Q&A where anybody in the VIP club just comes to, and we'll just talk about specifically what they want to as far as skincare. We'll sort of go through all the good routines for skin. And then I also send you out a food guide for each season, so you know what the right foods are for you. So you don't have to struggle and think, is this in season or is it being shipped in? Are pineapples in season in the summertime or are they not? I mean, there's a lot of things we're not quite sure about. So eating seasonally, and we are going to get to that in a minute, is going to give you that health that you need. And definitely it's going to give you a glow to your skin. So we'll go over that, and I'll send you out a seasonal self-care booklet. A lot of people in my one-on-one programs will get some of this information, but I wanted you to have it even though I'm not working with you one-on-one, because that is really important. As this webinar is called, Summer Wellness, Beauty from Within. So I want to make sure that you get that as well. So Lisa is going to put the link in the chat to the skincare assessment. To help you with that, we do offer free shipping. I think Amazon changed the world and everybody expects free shipping now. And because you're in this webinar, I will give you a 10% off coupon code, which is Summer Beauty. And Lisa's also going to put that in the chat too. The code's good for a whole week, so you've got time to think about it, take the assessment, and try it out. So that's 10% off personalized skincare. It is the way that skincare is going. And free shipping, and the gift of the VIP club. And I can't wait to see you in there. So any questions with any of what we've covered before I move on to food and meals and what we should be eating this season? Okay, Lisa's still putting her information in. Everybody still with me? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, nice. Then let's move on to what should we be eating in the summertime? Well, breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the same time every day is going to support a sense of calm. It's going to help with a sense of order, which pitters crave and we all need. And it's also going to help with good digestion. We want to move more towards fresher, lighter meals, and we're going to focus on 3 tastes. Those tastes are the bitter taste, sweet, and astringent. So where do we find the bitter taste? Can anybody tell me? Where is the bitter taste? I'm waiting for you to get interactive with me. Lemons, they're sour. Yep, greens, yes. Greens are definitely bitter, or a lot of them are. Celery, it can be, can't it? Yes. Herbs, good one. Herbs are often bitter. Limes, sour again. Yep. Great, you kind of got it. Bitter is all those summer greens that are coming in. Anything that's growing above the ground is in season. All those spring greens, the summer kale, the summer squashes that are coming out, the arugula, all this has that slight bitter taste, which is actually very cooling. So it is one of the tastes for this time of year. So as long as you're eating a lot of seasonal vegetables, then you're getting that bitter taste. The sweet taste, all those sweet fruits that are coming into season. I had my first bowl of fresh strawberries this week. It was delicious. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, peaches will be coming into season too. The sweet taste is not so hard to find, but it is all those juicy fruits. And these fruits this time of year are cooling. So load up. This is a high carb time of year to eat. That doesn't mean we find carbs, but vegetables and sweets are high in carbohydrates. And then when we get to astringent, this is a taste that many people don't quite sort of get. It's a more difficult taste. This is anything that tends to dry the mouth out. Let's think green grapes can be astringent. You know, they're juicy, but there's a slight drying taste to them. Coffee can be astringent. Black tea can be astringent. Green tea can be astringent as well. There's a slight drying taste. And blueberries, they're a wonderful antioxidant, but they also can be astringent too, which is why they're there. Pomegranates, love it. Yes, they are definitely astringent. So wonderful foods to adopt this time of year. So focus on these three tastes, and these will be the better foods for you. Now, we also want to use cooling herbs and spices. We still use spices in the summertime because we want to keep your metabolism burning or your digestive fires burning without burning you up. So cooling spices, think cilantro, basil, mint. These are all very cooling and really nice. Making a pesto. Pesto is wonderful for this time of year. You can make it with cilantro, you can make it with basil, or we say basil in England, but basil. Wonderful way to enjoy the sort of bounty of the season. What we want to avoid is heavy, oily foods, you know, fried foods, dense, creamy soups, heavy grains and stews and root vegetables. These are wonderful foods, some of them, but not this time of year. And you probably find that you've not actually really been attracted to these foods. You know, you're probably not really going for those big winter stews for this time of year. So that's our foods. So what does that mean? That means salads with seeds, sprouts, crunchy vegetables. These are the perfect way to enjoy the bounty of the season. If you're a vata that's prone to digestive issues, gas and bloating with a lot of raw vegetables, cook your vegetables as much as possible, or add some avocado or something oily like an oily or creamy dressing to balance out the dryness of the raw foods. We want to use seeds, not nuts. This is not the time of year to use nuts. Nuts are very heavy. They're too heavy for this time of year. They will be weight gaining, especially for you kathas. So seeds. I make a salad every lunchtime. I'll put either sesame seeds on. I've got salted sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. These are all really nice this time of year. And then eat away from the computer or other electronic distractions. I don't know when eating became a multitasking thing. We eat and watch TV. We eat and check our phones. We eat and read a book. We eat and, text. I'm going to encourage you to take time to just eat by itself. Your digestion will love it. Your weight will love it. And your mind will love it too. Perhaps eat outside, maybe by an open window if it's too hot to catch that summer breeze. A wonderful way to enjoy your food this time of year. So when we look at breakfast, lunch, and dinner then, breakfast needs to be light and nourishing. Let's eat no later than about 10 o'clock. Those of you who are with me, this doesn't mean yogurt and fruit. This is probably a nut yogurt with some fruit. There's a lot of talk about eating grains and fruit and yogurt and fruits in Ayurveda, and it actually is not indicated to eat yogurt and fruits, even though it is so popular and every grocery store that you go to has whole aisles full of yogurt and fruit flavored yogurts. But you can have a nut yogurt, which is really nice with some fruit. I love fruit. I love avocado toast for breakfast. I'll do rice cakes and sun butters. All of these things are really nice. We're coming away from the heavier oatmeals and grains of the winter and spring. Eat no later than 10 o'clock in the morning. Once you're after 10 o'clock, you're into lunchtime. Lunch does need to be the main meal of the day and eaten around midday. Important not to overeat in lunch. And when I say it's the main meal of the day, this is the most robust meal. And that's because our digestive fire, our metabolism, if you like, is at its strongest at midday. So coming back to circadian medicine, our metabolism or digestive fire in Ayurveda works with the sun. So when we wake up in the morning, the sun's not very strong, and neither is our digestion. It's very rarely that we wake up ravenous. It takes a while to get there. And then we get to midday when the sun is at its highest. And this is when our digestive fire or our metabolism is also at its strongest. So this is the time of day to have that piece of cake or have that extra thing that you wouldn't normally have. You can manage it at lunchtime. But then as the sun goes down, our digestion also wanes, or our metabolism also wanes. And yet in our culture, we have our biggest meal of the day at sort of 7 o'clock at night when our digestion is at its lowest. And that couldn't be further from what we're meant to do naturally. So I'm going to encourage you, you can still eat with the family and do all those things in the evening, but just make that midday meal just a little bit more robust than the evening meal. Take a short, brisk walk after lunch. That's really going to help with digestion, especially in the summertime. And dinner in the summer actually needs to be the lightest meal of the day. Ideally eaten before 7, but a lot depends on what time you go to bed. If you're going to bed at 8, you better eat earlier than that. We need about 3 hours of time before eating and bed. Avoid heavy foods in the evening. That's going to result in congestion. And have you ever sort of gone to bed and you've slept heavy, but you've had these disturbed dreams, you've not felt really good when you've woken up? This is probably because you ate something that was incompatible the night before, or you had something that was too heavy to be digested that night. So any questions about food as we're going through the different foods for the season? You've all gone quiet on me again. That's because I'm doing all the talking, huh? Okay. Then let's move on to our evening routine. So before bed, it's important to take some quiet time with at least an hour of distraction-free space. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you can't watch TV. It doesn't mean to say, I mean, I love to watch TV too. I love Netflix, but I will not watch it and then just go from the couch to bed. There needs to be some time to develop a good sleep routine, to get really good quality sleep. Good quality rest is what rejuvenates, restores, and keeps us balanced. It is one of the pillars, major pillars of health. So consider taking some quiet time with some distraction-free space. And what that means is this is your time to meditate if you like to meditate, to chant if that's what you do, journal, and I encourage you in the summer to journal time. It's very easy when we get busy to just power through. And pittas, when they power through, will not necessarily digest emotions. They will just keep on going. And sometimes just to stop and journal allows us to process emotions. So journaling's great, praying if that's what you want to do, chanting, writing poetry, listening to some beautiful music, reading a spiritual book, but choose an activity that integrates your day and brings you a really restful good night's sleep. As I said, rest and rejuvenation is what's going to be really good for the body and the mind. Aim for bedtime between 10:30 and 11, earlier if you can, but no later than 11 at night. Any questions about sleep? Now, generally, we don't tend to suggest napping throughout the day. However, in the summertime, a short 10-minute late afternoon snooze on a hammock in a cool breeze or on a lounger is an absolutely wonderful way to spend sort of 10, 15 minutes and will be really nice and rejuvenative for you. And then somebody said, bath is lovely for sleep. It absolutely is. Just be careful if you're a pitter that bath doesn't heat you up. So you want to take a more of a cooling bath and put in some essential oils that are cooling. Mint, I would probably use rose or neroli, just something that's very aromatic, but still very, very cooling. Then that would be really nice. But you're right. 15 minutes saved me 15 minutes of napping. Yeah, thoroughly enjoy it. Really, really good in the summertime. We would not recommend this at any other time of year, but summertime is the time to do it. Now, everything that we have talked about today is partly what my one-on-one clients get in their seasonal consultations. And that's just part of their year-long program. So we do 4 seasonal consultations. And their wellness plan includes genetics, a full plan, a fitness plan, a meal plan, and obviously one-on-one coaching. Now, I can't talk with you directly about any health challenges that you may have. As you know, there is no one size fits all, and this isn't actually the right venue for that. But a personalized plan based on your genetics and an Ayurveda consultations means that we end up with a really multifaceted plan that is broken down into exercise support, nutritional support, stress support, and even mental health support. So I will tell you what to eat for your body type and goals, when to sleep, how to exercise. So everything is tailored to you personally. So if you could do with some help, then I would just love to chat with you. Just click on the link in chat. Lisa's going to put a link to a consultation with me. It's an absolutely free consult with me for 30 minutes where we can just talk about getting some clarity around what you'd like to achieve in your health, why that's important to you. I also want to understand the root cause of any challenges that you may be having. And then lastly, once we've done that, then we can develop a strategy together that will give you some immediate and some lasting results. So if that sounds like something that sounds really good for you and you're looking for help, then again, the link is in chat and Lisa's putting that in. So we have the consultation link, the skincare assessment link, and the Summer Beauty. That wasn't a link, that was just the code, Summer Beauty. So let's sort of take a look at the big picture of summertime. Summertime, let's look at the quintessential summer day. So let's look at a beautiful summer afternoon. You know, there's a cool breeze, the sun's out, the hammocks are out, the loungers are out by the pool, the flies are buzzing, the dog's snoozing on the porch, and you just feel nice and warm and toasty, but sort of lazy, and you're just going to take a 15-minute nap on a hammock. That feeling, that's summertime, and that's what we need to embrace in the summertime. In each season, we embrace the qualities of that season. So lighten up. Let's play, get out the water sprinkler, splash everybody, do some of the things that you've forgotten were fun to do, because summertime really is that. It is about having fun. So I want you to do that. So I've shared with you some other strategies. You have 2 doors here. One door is doing the same thing, the same way, expecting a different result. And what's that the definition of? Nobody told me in chat what that's the definition of. What is it? Doing the same thing, the same way, expecting a different result. Is the very definition of stark crazy insanity. You got the gist. But there is another door. I've shared some of those strategies for you to live seasonally, to work with what we have, to eat seasonally, use personalized products that are right for you, to thoroughly embrace the season. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to embrace that season and ultimately know as you go through the seasons just how phenomenal you're going to feel in doing just that one hack without even having to do anything else. So to go through the right door, I offer you that complimentary consultation. We will look at health challenges, seasonal routines for you, and just what is the right path for you. If I can help you, that's great. I can't always help everybody in all transparency. So if I can't help you, I have a lot of resources, and I'll do my best to at least connect you with some resources that can help you. So again, Lisa's going to put those links in the chat so you have them. I'll send them out to you via email tomorrow, along with a recording of what we went over tonight, so that you have it. And thank you so much. But any questions, I'd love to open it up. We've got our VIPers that have come in and talk to you about any questions that you may have. This is where I shut up now. So feel free to unmute. No questions at all. Thank you, Dana. Lisa's on deck too to answer any questions. Any questions about what we talked about integrating some of what we talked about? Did it feel clear to you as we went through sort of the typical day? Thank you, Charlotte. Or were there things that we didn't cover? Erica says, any chemicals or synthetic fragrance in your skincare products? Are they truly clean products? Well, that's an interesting question. Yes, they are, to answer that question. There is no such thing as clean. And I always thought there was. It's one of those beauty industry things. Because what do you mean by clean? Does it mean synthetic? Then no, we have no synthetics. We don't use parabens. We don't treat on animals. So all those measures of what clean ingredients are, yes, but there's no definition. There's no standard definition of what a clean ingredient is. Are they chemicals? And I find it interesting that as we put the ingredients on things, we have to put the chemical ingredient name down because that's what we're required to do by law. And because people don't recognize that, I've actually had people turn around and say to me, oh, but this isn't natural. It's like, but chemicals are natural. Vitamin C is called something else. You know, even table salt, for example, you know, this is sodium chloride. If you saw sodium chloride, you're not necessarily going to think, oh my gosh, that's table salt. So we have to be careful that a lot of the chemicals that you may see are actually fine. Yes, that we're just using their chemical name. But to come back to what you said, yes, they're clean from the definition of what I think you mean by clean, which is probably my definition too. And that was important to me. I mean, that was the first thing, you know, we wanted our packaging to be recyclable. I didn't want to create more waste. We wanted clean, green, no synthetic fragrances. That was really important. If we could eat it, then we felt then you could put it on your skin. And that's what we did. Yeah. So hopefully that answered your question for you. But it was a great question. Well, everybody's saying thank you. So I guess it's time to leave. Thank you so much. Loved it. You are all wonderful. You are all perfect, just as you are. Do not forget that. And I look forward to connecting with you again. Take care. Bye-bye.